Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, are your spirit guides harassing you? Are you feeling physical symptoms that aren't lining up with anything medical? Are you feeling a little crazy, like there's some energy on the other side trying to tell you something and you do not know what it is? Chances are you're going through something called a 5D Ascension, and you are having symptoms. And we're going to talk about what those mean, and then we're going to talk about some of your amazing stories of how your spirit guides got your attention. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right, this sounds like we're going a little woo-woo.
It's CPL, Crazy Psychic Lady.
Yeah. You said something about this 5D Ascension?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is. Should I?
We've talked about this.
have?
I think the whole podcast is about this.
Oh.
Honestly.
Well, that makes sense, and I don't know what it is.
A lot of us are here and in other similar spaces because we feel like there's more to the story, and we feel like our life purpose is evolving and aligning with our soul identity. And when you feel that way, you start moving towards the vibration all that lives on, and that vibration is different than the 3D world or the physical world vibration. You're on the consciousness of the 5D or your soul identity, and it feels different. I'm going to say something. I'm going to talk about this more in my little spiel coming up, but it's kind of like altitude sickness. You can get a little sick when you're kind of at the early stages, when you're getting used to being somewhere that's a different vibration than what you're used to.
Okay. Well, I've been feeling pretty good lately.
Yeah.
Does that mean... Well, actually, I'm going to tell you this. Actually, we were talking about 5D Ascension, so I assume that means rising up to the 5D.
Yeah.
But I've actually been pulled down the last few weeks to the 3D. Last week's episode,
right.
I had to do the Secret Mormon Wives. I had to watch that show.
Yeah.
That really pulled me down into 3D land.
Yeah.
So I have to get out of that, and I'm trying to.
So you're blaming me.
Well, I'm not blaming you. I'm actually going to blame an old character, an old friend of mine, Phoebe. Everyone knows Phoebe. If you listen to the podcast, you know Phoebe.
Yeah.
If you're new, Phoebe is my spirit guide. And I'm gonna have to say this. It's been dead quiet. I feel like silence. I think she's not. One of two things is happening. She's either not talking to me, she's giving me like the cold shoulder, the silent treatment, she's angry at me, or she's on a binge.
Yeah.
Drinking binge.
You've often thought she had a little problem.
She has a problem with the drink. And I think right now she's off somewhere. I don't know. Maybe Ireland. She's doing a pub crawl in Ireland.
Okay.
I don't know.
So you're saying your spirit guide does not harass you at all.
That's right.
And you feel no ascension symptoms.
That's correct. That's what I'm trying to say here. I feel some of it was brought on by myself because I did watch that show last couple of weeks.
Right.
But I feel like nobody's talking to me. Like, what if nobody, like, I feel no spirit guide talking to me.
Yeah, what
right
if you
now.
feel nothing?
Yeah, what if you feel nothing?
Yeah,
is that common? Or is that just me?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the listeners of this podcast, it wouldn't be as common for them because they're used to kind of being open to change and new ideas and different thought patterns, and there's something amiss and they want to search for, more open truths to things. You, on the other hand,
Right.
and this isn't a slam or anything. Like, I think you just tend to avoid new ways of thinking. If somebody has a new idea, you're immediately like, no.
Okay.
And I think you avoid feeling uncomfortable in different contexts, not just physical contexts, like you won't sit in the middle of the room in a restaurant or things like that. I mean, like emotional or spiritual contexts. If something just doesn't align to what you're just comfortable in, you don't bother like that. And I think it's just kind of an ego protection. So you can avoid an ascension for sure. But you've come so far, Scotty, and I'm sorry, Phoebe, you feel like Phoebe ignores you.
No, that's true. I have come far, but I feel like the last few weeks it's just been crickets.
Yeah.
Like nobody's, like they just took a vacation. Like they're gone.
Okay.
And my ascension is like kind of
you're good.
Stuck.
Maybe you don't. You're good. You're good in this vibe.
Maybe I'm good in this vibe.
You don't need to ascend.
Like
you're
to ascend.
fine.
Although I don't want to have any of these symptoms you're talking about. Maybe I don't ascend because I don't want to have these symptoms.
Yeah.
Thus, then I would have to go to the doctor. And the one thing I always avoid in life is going to the doctor.
Well, 100% ascension is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning. So if you think about any time in your life you've gone through something at all that's kind of been a revelation or a different pattern or a switch up or an aha moment, it's been uncomfortable and it can manifest in the body. So there's a lot of feeling of loss of control during an ascension. And it's not negative, it's not positive, it's just something that happens. And there's definitely a reason why your body would avoid going through that by blocking you off of truths or revelations that would cause it.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or I'm going back to the old theory.
Okay.
Phoebe's on vacation. And she's hit the bottle.
Poor you.
She's hit the bottle.
So you're saying she avoids you, and I'm saying you avoid her.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I think. Something like that. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, you're going to talk about symptoms of your 5D ascension.
This episode of Know Your Aura is brought to you by Wild Grain.
Yeah.
Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. Wild Grain's boxes are fully customizable to your tastes and dietary restrictions. In addition to their classic variety box, they recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. Best of all, they take the hassle out of baking since all items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less with no mess or cleanup. Scotty, what were your favorites this month?
Let me see. Well, I've been going along a lot with the S7.
Okay.
Sourdough. I make up these, by the way.
You do?
Myself. Sourdough 7-grain loaf.
Oh,
I just call it the S7.
The S7.
For short. I got the SSB.
Okay.
The sourdough sesame seed bread.
Yes.
So I love that one.
There's good.
I have roast rolls. I have bread, everything.
You are never disappointed when we get a box of the Wild Grain. Are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep? Be sure to check out Wild Grain so you can begin building your own box of artisanal breads, pastas, and pastries. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/KYA to start your subscription. You heard me, free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/KYA. That's wildgrain.com/KYA, or you can use promo code KYA at checkout. Have you been feeling like the universe is trying to tell you something, or that your spirit guides or angels are harassing you, or you feel like there's some message that is trying to be delivered to you, but you just don't know what it is? It's just constant. Chances are that you're going through a spiritual ascension, and I'm going to explain what that is today. And not only that, it might not just be the signs that you're getting, and maybe sometimes you know what they mean and sometimes you don't. But also you can be experiencing physical changes, emotional changes, and those are interesting to note too, because they could be happening at the same time, and we're just going to spell it all out today. So, all right, why is this happening? Most likely, you've done a little shadow work, meaning you've dug down into places that you haven't dug down into before. Maybe you've ended some relationship patterns. Maybe you've had some sort of revelation. You've had some sort of aha moment about a pattern in your life. And now you're rapidly ascending to a new dimension. And yes, let's pause right here. This is a CPL episode, a Crazy Psychic Lady episode, and just go with me here. I'm passionate about this. And hey, if it lends some sort of insight and gives you a feeling of some sort of control, let's just go with it. Okay. So chances are that what's happening is that because you've dropped some dead weight in terms of energetic patterns pulling you down into lower vibrational dimensions that do not serve you anymore. And I promise I'll speak English again in a second. What's happening is you're like bouncing up, and you have to adjust to these higher vibrational frequencies which reside there. And they feel different. So it's kind of like altitude sickness. Okay. Honestly, like when you go into a different vibe, meaning you're leveling up, this is a higher vibe. The things that you ask for that you don't have yet live on a different dimension. Like they live on a different vibrational plane. What does that mean? It means that it's going to feel weird when you go to the vibration the things you want are at. And it takes time to adjust, just like altitude sickness. Okay. Like if you fly to Denver, it might take you a minute to adjust. Some people take longer. Some people, it depends. Some people really quick, but you're going to have some symptoms. And that's kind of what ascension does to you. I'm going to talk about the emotional differences, the physical symptoms that might accompany this. And then, yes, the signs that you're getting. We'll do the signs part later. What is 5D ascension? We talk a lot on here on this podcast about the 3D versus the 5D. The 3D being the physical world. You're a soul. You're a 5D being in a 3D situation. So we love the 3D. We live here. This is where our bodies exist. This is the experience. It's our ticket to the show. This is why we're here. This is the classroom that we're in. But a lot of times, and we've talked about this many times, the 5D parts of ourselves, or the soul identities of ourselves, don't always feel aligned to the 3D. And when you go through a 5D ascension, you're shifting. You're shifting parts of yourself from the 3D consciousness to a more 5D consciousness. And it can lead to these ascension symptoms, which I'm going to talk about, like physical symptoms and the signs you're getting, and the emotional symptoms that you might be having too. Is if you can think about it like your DNA of sorts is being affected by this. So you have a spiritual body, and nobody talks about it, out in the 3D world, but it's just as important as your mental health or your physical health. Your spiritual body health is just as important. And when you go through these lessons and these life and these vibrational shifts, when it shifts, it's a domino effect. And so your body will talk to you. And some things that you think are one thing are sometimes just a symptom of your ascension. And then because usually what's happening is you have this need to experience life on a more divine energy frequency, or just basically you want to finally get the peace of mind that you've been seeking and the abundance that comes with it and the life that comes to it. And more than anything, your soul identity, your 5D self, wants you to live out your light working purpose, your life purpose for being here. All roads always lead to that. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? So a lot of different shifts are coming with these symptoms, and a lot of it is raising your vibration, shedding your ego, gaining control of your future, and it all comes with this elevated level of consciousness. A lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about today, obviously could be actual medical symptoms, and I'm a very grounded, crazy psychic lady, because I 100%, please go to the doctor, get stuff checked out. Don't just think it's spiritual. Okay. The way that I approach because I love doctors and I think medicine's great, and I think doctors know, I always say professionals know what's going on. Okay. So we always see them. We always check stuff out. But my thought is balance. Even when I am going through something physical and it's a real diagnosis and it's actually something that's happening, I always take a look at the spiritual component along with it too. Because they do work hand in hand. Whatever things our bodies are going through, there is a spiritual component, and it can help us gain insight and control, and help us also heal our physical bodies when we pay attention to our spiritual ones too. But a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about today of course they could be medical symptoms. Yes. And I'm never going to discredit that and always get things checked out. But I also have to make a joke here that a lot of these are going to sound like perimenopause. Oh, and if you're my age, it's funny because you know what I mean. But anyways, so a lot of them do sound like, but here's the thing. And this is my own take on this. And I think it's fascinating because, as I go through and I read people all the time, I found, obviously two things can be true. What I notice is women tend to get more psychic. And I'll just, because my experience, I mostly read women, and I myself am a woman, so I have to talk about it from that experience right now. Most women tend to get more psychic or more ascended, more connected to their 5D consciousness during extreme hormonal changes in their life. So if you look back, if you can think back to puberty, or if you can think back if you went through a pregnancy, or if you can think back to postpartum, and that if you could think back to perimenopause, if you can think back to menopause, whatever stage you're at, hormones, my thought are, obviously they're real things that can be measured in the physical bodies, but I also think they're little portals. I think hormones are portals, and they make you feel wackadoo, absolutely wackadoo, but they also, because they are kind of segues into 5D thinking. A lot of times when you're going through these times, you can feel very at odds with your physical body and your 3D environment, and you get in your head a lot. And I talked about this a lot in my postpartum depression episode, but it is a pattern that is worth talking about. I think this is my own thought. I think hormones are portals. I think that they really do actually assist with ascension. And maybe that's a nicer way. Somebody could be like, well, that's just putting rose-colored glasses on. We're getting older or something. And it's like, maybe, but also I think it's true. Okay. So here we go. But yeah, I feel like anytime I read somebody who's, going through a change of life in some way that is utilizing hormonal shifts, even people who are going through really tough hormonal, like autoimmune issues and stuff like that. It's definitely usually accompanied by major life change, a lot of insight, tons of stuff you can't ignore, like feelings and messages and just like awakened gifts. So it's not fun. I'm not saying this is fun, but I am saying that I think there's a connection there from my own point of view, navigating this world and seeing it from, the observation way I do. But let's talk about some physical symptoms of spiritual ascension. This means that you are rising, your consciousness is rising to meet where you're supposed to go, your life purpose, the things that you want, the goals that you have, your soul plan, and the physical symptoms that can come with it. There's a bunch, but let's start with like you just feel sore. Let's say you're waking up sore, you're achy, your bruises that are unexplained, sore joints. Okay, like your body during ascension is releasing a lot of energy so that blockages are being moved through sooner. So it can feel like you had an intense workout and you didn't. And you're like, wow, I'm just like stiff today, and a lot of this can be because your body is trying to release the blockages so energy can move through you like a conduit much easier. And to that point, another symptom is major fatigue. Like you wake up sleepy, like you've had bad sleep, you're tired during the day, you feel like you need to nap more, feels like you're moving through mud. All right. And this is because a lot of times when you're going through ascension stuff, you are not sleeping great. At night, this is when you're having spirit guide situations, crazy meaningful dreams, you're tossing and turning, you're waking up all hot, sweaty, or you need glasses of water during the night, you're restless. Okay. Chances are what's happening is your astral body is very busy and your physical body isn't getting a great night of sleep because of all this activity. A lot of times when your spiritual body is allowed to be its free-flowing self, it's when your physical body is sleeping, it's tapped out. And it's just easier for you to receive message and do the work you got to do from your spirit guides. And I've talked about this a lot. Like especially when I was going through a lot of my major awakenings before I started doing this. It was right before I was like, okay, I have to be Mystic Michaela. Okay. So a lot of this I understand from my own ascension stuff. They like my spirit guides, and they would wake me up in the middle of the night. Like I've been touched, I've been talked to, I've heard voices, I've been completely bombarded. Like I could tell, like I've woken up in the middle of something, that my spiritual body was engaged in, and my physical body like interrupted us by waking up like that. So it's a lot. Okay. Another thing, and this is a big one, tooth pain, gum pain, tooth pain, but no reason. Again, all these always get stuff checked out 100%. Okay. I'm a mom too. Like, please go to the doctor. I'm always dragging my kids to the doctor. Like, please. But yeah, tooth pain with no reason. Holy cow. All right. Your teeth are like channeling frequencies for your like throat chakra, and like maybe you're wanting to say more, maybe your truth is coming free. You can feel like your mouth is hurting more. Early stages of the ascension can be really tough on your teeth, actually. Throat and thyroid area too, if you're getting a lot of sore throats or your thyroid's acting up. So interesting to pay attention to when you've had like tooth issues or tooth problems or out of nowhere pain that had to be dealt with. Like, what was that? Or unexplained pain too. Like they're just sore today or something. Got to ask yourself, what's going on? What do I need to say out loud? What am I holding back? What's bugging me? It's worth you don't always have to have a solution, but it's good for your spiritual body and physical body communication, just at least having that convo. You don't always have to fix it. You can just have that conversation about it, and that can help a lot. Fourth symptom is like just tummy stuff. I mean, not to be gross, but like being irregular, feeling upset, feeling like you can't tolerate certain foods anymore. Okay, you're digesting a new reality. You're adjusting to the physical stress of Ascension. All right, so your tummy stuff can act up, especially if you're the type of person that usually, like when anything goes on in general in life, your tummy acts up. During Ascension, your tummy is going to act up. So again, it's kind of like, nothing I'm doing is helping. I don't understand what's going on. I'm not even like, I've seen people during Ascension stuff completely develop some sort of a food intolerance. Like all of a sudden they can't do gluten, or all of a sudden they're allergic to strawberries, or all of a sudden it's like some random, and also, the more ascended you get, the less environmental toxins you can handle. For real. Like all of a sudden you might be noticing that your old lotion is giving you a rash, or you touch this cleaning solution that you've always used and it just made your hands just completely break out or something. So notice stuff like that, and then ask yourself like, ooh, why? Because your physical body's more sensitive because your spiritual body's more sensitive. It's everything relates, everything's correlated. Another thing you can kind of pick up on is like a jittery feeling, like you feel really jittery, but you haven't had any caffeine or more than usual or whatever. You can feel clumsy, like you're tripping over yourself. Your body is adjusting to the unfamiliar frequencies and vibrations, which are just like inundating it. And it can affect your sense of body familiarity. It can affect like how you can feel dizzy, like, whoa, like a little vertigo feeling, but you don't have vertigo, stuff like that. The sixth one, there's this thing, it's called the Ascension flu. This is like a real thing. I mean, real in terms of our world over here. It's like there's no reason for you to get sick all of a sudden, and it's like the flu. But it doesn't last as long like that. You're really hot, you got bad fever, and it's just out of nowhere. It's kind of rapid, comes and goes quickly. The Ascension flu. It's just flowing through you, all this vibration, all this stuff's flowing through you so rapidly that your body's like, whoa. It's trying to fight it off like it would a virus. But you kind of like, it works its way through and then you're okay. And then vision. This is the last one I'll stop with for the physical stuff. Vision. It either improves randomly, gets worse suddenly, a lot of third eye interference. So your third eye vision is expanding, and it can mess with your physical vision because you're supposed to rely more on your third eye vision. So it can just confuse your physical senses as well. And then overall, by the way, your physical senses can get heightened, and some can shut down, and then others can get more heightened. So your sense of touch might be less, I don't know, all of a sudden the shower is not hot enough, but it's really hot. Like, well, I don't know, I don't feel it, like that. Or all of a sudden you're not cold outside anymore. You're always chilly. Everyone's always chilly, but you're not. You can kind of change your senses a little bit. All of a sudden you smell things really well. Like you're a sommelier of everything. All of a sudden you can smell and taste like amazing. So you notice like your senses may decrease or increase in odd ways. And the thing is like, here's the deal. Like, yourself, right? Like, you've been living in this body this long. Trust yourself that you know yourself. And then ask yourself, like, don't doubt it. Like, if something's going on and you get it checked out, it's not medical, and it's just kind of like an accompaniment to something else that's going on in your life, some other revelation or truth or drama or unfolding or pattern switch up. Just ask yourself, like, am I going through an ascension? Like, how do I feel differently in an energetic or spiritual way? And then just have that conversation with yourself. It's going to help this process go a lot smoother. Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela is sponsored by BetterHelp. The men in our lives who we love, I mean, there's so much stigma surrounding men's mental health and the strength that comes from maintaining a healthy mind. It's very important. Men today face immense pressure to perform and provide and keep it all together. So it's no wonder that 6 million men in the U.S. suffer from depression every year, and it's often undiagnosed. I personally have benefited from therapy in my life. Lessons from therapy sessions years ago I use in my daily life now. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. It's convenient too. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/KYA. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KYA. We just talked about the physical ascension symptoms to the 5D. Now let's talk about some emotional ones. And these aren't going to be as many, but, and again, I mean, I said it before, I said it 100 times already, but any of these should definitely get checked out, so that you know that it's not something else like a mental health condition or something else going on. But the first one, is disorientation. We call them like senior moments or mom brain or, right after I have a baby, you're just kind of like, what? Like you just forget someone's name or when you're pregnant, this happens a lot. This happened to me when I was pregnant all the time too, but disorientation, like you're confused about, wait, where am I? What's going on? You can zone out easier. It's kind of like your soul and its reality and how it's seen and its habitat being the collective consciousness or the more spiritual realms is clashing with your present 3D physical reality. And there can be little times where you're just like, what? Like you just zone out, you forget something really pivotal or important, or you just don't feel here. So it's kind of like the serenity that comes with 5D consciousness can kind of conflict with the 3D world, and you can start zoning out of things that just aren't as important, more 3D processy stuff. But it can be really annoying because you'll forget very important stuff. And then people will be like, are you okay? Like, hello, Earth to you. Another one is, I kind of touched on it, but memory loss. I mean, you're completely forgetting conversations you had, certain, things that have happened, experiences that, people can jog your memory, but you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of like you're just not holding on to memories that aren't as important maybe, or maybe memories that kind of just, I don't know, like you just kind of let stuff go a little bit. So when you're in the 5D consciousness, what happens is your 3D reality is paused. So it can disconnect. So it's kind of like you stepped away from 3D reality for a while and you've been in 5D consciousness. And then when you come back to 3D reality, people are like, hey, remember. And it's like fuzzy. So that can be another symptom. Another thing is just a total identity crisis. You're like, who am I? Things that used to feel fun aren't. You notice you're like 8 years old again and you're like, I need to know what I like. I don't think I know what I like anymore. You can look around and be like, did I build a whole world around myself of things that I thought I wanted and now I don't? A lot of this is just because your 5D consciousness is making you to make changes. You want, you feel uncomfortable in the way that it was. You're more comfortable in the way it could be, and you want to make changes in your habits and your relationships and your reality to fit the more 5D vibration that you've embraced. So you just have to kind of embrace it and make peace with it. You can also be very irritable. You know, you can just like have less patience. You can feel a little on edge a little bit. You can have mood swings, really happy, really sad. It can be like an actual roller coaster. Again, a lot of this does sound like perimenopause. But like I said, I feel like hormones are portals, people. And I feel like when you go through these times of life of hormonal shifts and changes, they are taking you to different ascension spots right along with them. You can have terrible anxiety, an uptick with feeling afraid, feeling, oh, did I make a huge mistake? Am I ruining my life? Did I ruin my life? Is there no turning back? Oh my gosh, I don't have much time left. You know, you can have all that going on. Life's so short. You can have a whole change of life view. All of a sudden, maybe you never liked, you know, vegetables and now you have a whole garden and you'll eat everything in it. You know, like you can have, I don't know, I never wanted to travel, you know, and all of a sudden got your passport and you're like, I'm going, bye. Here I am with or without you, you know, like you just have this need. And then you're also kind of letting go of what it makes you look like to those who don't understand it. You know, that's another thing. And then also you can feel way more creative. You've awakened new creativities. You just, you know, I don't know. When people are like, you paint, it's like, I do now. I'm painting, so I paint. You know, you're just going for it. I'll remodel the bathroom myself. Well, who says I can't? I know I can. Like you have this energy towards creative projects and passions that just did not exist before. You can also just be like, I need to be in nature, you know, like maybe you're that person who never jumped in the ocean because you didn't want to get your hair wet and now you're just like in there and you're just floating 100% all in. You are barefoot in the park. Here we go. So, and then the spiritual symptoms, just really quickly, a lot of these can be just intense energy. You know, we're not who we think we are. We have the 3D world is very, very convincing that who you have told them that you are. But in actuality, your 5D consciousness, your soul identity, it's always shifting and changing. And it's not who we say we are. A lot of it is moving towards love and empathy and compassion and purpose and the collective. And so your identity can change a lot. But because of that, because you're feeling all this energy of change, it can cause a sort of anxiety, and it can feel like, you know, a little stress because you know that people don't always understand it. Another thing is you can experience like you can see things all of a sudden, like maybe you're seeing shadows, maybe you're seeing things wake you up in the middle of the night, maybe you're seeing all of a sudden like symbols where other people don't, or signs where other people don't, or patterns where other people are like, well, that's nothing. And you're like, no, it's something. You're way more in touch with your psychic awareness when you're going through an ascension. So you just have to kind of let your ego go and just be like, you know what? If I believe it, it's true, you know, and just kind of go with it. As long as it's not hurting you or harming you or hurting someone else, it's fine. You just have to like lean into your intuition. And you can have like a lot of out of body experiences too. You can it kind of goes back to the memory loss or the zoning out thing. Like you're drifting in and out of 3D consciousness. So you can kind of like feel like you're having different lives. Feel like sometimes your dreams can feel more like alternate storylines that you're living. Like you're waking up and you're like, oh my gosh, like I had all these people that I knew and I don't know them now, but they felt so real. So you can have experiences like that. You can be visiting other soul identities that you've had, reincarnated past lives, other timelines. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. And you are more open to signs. So as the signs are coming your way and you're feeling harassed by them, chances are what's going on is because you're so open to them right now, because you're in this 5D ascension, because you're in this 5D awakening, you are like an open door. So even if you don't understand the signs, you probably are going to get harassed because when they know you're open to it, they are just going to keep it coming. So when we come back, we're going to talk to the Mystic Michaela spiritual family about some harassment they are getting from their spirit guides. And we're going to talk about what it could mean. School is out for the summer around here. My kids are running all over the place. I mean, getting my kids to eat healthy is hard enough during the school year, but in the summer, I mean, forget it. Routines are off, meals are on the go, and that makes it almost impossible for me to make sure my little ones are getting all the vitamins they need every day. But this is why I'm so excited to introduce you to Beam Kids All-in-One Superpower. I've tried kid supplements before, and they're all missing something. One will have greens, but no probiotics. Another has vitamins, but no fiber. And don't even get me started on those healthy gummies that are basically candy with a label. There hasn't been a single product that brings everything together in a way I could actually feel good about until now. Beam Kids is packed with over 40 essential nutrients, including greens, fruits, vitamins, pre- and probiotics, literally everything my kids need for healthy growth, strong immune systems, and steady energy throughout the day. It's pediatrician formulated, third-party tested, and co-created by Olympic gold medalist and mom Shawn Johnson. And yes, it tastes good. It actually tastes good. My kids just think of it as chocolate milk. They get excited to drink it. They mix it for themselves in the morning without any prompting from me because they actually like it. They've launched a brand new chocolate chip cookie flavor, by the way, that tastes like dessert and works like a multivitamin. My picky eater even asks for seconds of greens. Let that sink in. And now the perfect time is to try it because Beam is offering an exclusive deal for my listeners. For a limited time, you can get up to 35% off plus 2 free gifts when you go to shopbeam.com/KYA and use code KYA at checkout. That's shopbeam, BEAM.com/KYA and use code KYA for up to 35% off and 2 free gifts. Seriously, less stress for parents, better nutrition for kids, and no more arguing over vegetables. Get yourself some Beam Kids Super Powder and have one less thing to worry about this summer. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right, so the question I have to ask is, so what do you do now?
Yeah.
You know, you're going through this 5D Ascension. What do you do?
So the number one thing is just pay attention and then just consider that it could also be a 5D Ascension symptoms. And then just paying attention and having that conversation with yourself. Like I said, you don't need solutions. You just need to notice it. And then that allows the energy just to move through you easier. And then the second thing is just take care of your body. You know, it sounds really cliche, but listen to your body. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. If it hurts, don't do it. You know, drink a lot of water. And I know that sounds really cliche, but the water really helps and the resting and the honoring your body. And then finally, and this is where it's hard because we all live in this world together, you might need some sort of an energy detox. I just had a reading with somebody who's just going through this. And I just was like, listen, like for a month, as best as you can, try not to listen to music that's upsetting. Like, you know, listen to really high vibe music. Do meditations as much as you can. You know, say no to toxic people or anything that drains you. Don't watch anything that's stressful. Like, give yourself a month or something of like, just, I'm throwing out the apps on my phone, like whatever it is, you know, and it's hard and you're not going to be perfect at it. But even if you reduce that intake by 10, 20%, you're going to help your body have the energy to ascend quicker and easier and with more fluidity.
Okay. And then let's say you're someone like me who hasn't seen an angel number in a few weeks.
Right.
Your spirit guide right now is in Dublin somewhere doing who knows what. You know, is there any hope for me? Or this maybe it's just me.
If you feel like you're not getting nudges from your spirit team, just ask for them. But then you also have to be open to it. So you might feel like you're fudging it at first. Like, am I making this up? Like, maybe just go with it, you know? Like, when you see something, when you see a feather on the ground, instead of being like, a bird just flew by, whatever. No, say, oh, thank you. Wow. You know, you just have to kind of lean into it. It gives them, no, don't laugh at me because that's what you're doing right now. You're laughing at me. But really, you lean into it. And the more you lean into it, the more you give them kind of the wiggle room to keep going and make it stronger. And then to the point where you cannot argue it.
Okay. Because I'm just putting this out there. Like, I haven't seen 111 in many, many weeks.
Well, now, because you said that, it's going to be popping up everywhere. But you can't argue with it. They hate when you argue with them. They really do.
They actually... They go a step further.
Okay.
And they mock me. And they give me 112.
And we're going to talk about this because I asked the Mrs. Michaela spiritual family, do your spirit guides harass you? And a lot of people are similar to you in saying not I feel like they're making fun of me or mocking me.
Right.
Or I think spirit guides or angels, whatever you want to call them, have a sense of humor for real. And they're very creative and they're very funny and they're very tongue in cheek. And they don't always give you what you want, but they will tell you that they're there. So I think that that's hysterical that you said that. But I asked our family for some stories, and did they deliver like you guys always do? I have to start with this from Steph because this one was crazy. All right, so she writes, crazy story for you. My friend and I have been mulling over this idea we've had for several months on whether or not to apply for. And she obviously can't say it, but it's something fun but scary, very much putting us out there in a vulnerable way. Finally, on Thursday, we were texting, and I said, if we are supposed to do this, I'm going to ask Ryan, that's her spirit guide, to show me a shrimp. It was the most random thing I could think of. At the time, I was locked away in a studio working for the weekend, so removed from any form of seafood or crustaceans. A few hours later, I am sitting in the control room of the studio, and walks in our floor director from the set. We are chatting, and all of a sudden, she moves her arm to point and reveals a tattoo of a shrimp on her arm. Steph included this picture of the shrimp on the arm. I was too stunned to speak. It still feels crazy, and I can feel myself flipping back and forth between the literal sign I asked for and a coincidence. Seriously, who the heck has a shrimp tattoo? The next day I saw her again and told her the story. We both got complete body chills, as I did, spirit shivers, and she was also stunned and loved it. This was a special sign, right? Regularly, the signs I get all the time are owls. I've asked for these, and I see 818 and 117 and so much. But wow. And so when you see this shrimp tattoo, which she posted, it's such just a random, not to mock a tattoo, but
yeah,
it's not artistic. It's just straight up a shrimp.
I mean, who has a shrimp tattoo?
Like on their forearm, like that.
I mean, that cannot be a coincidence.
It just can't be. It's
right.
Too crazy.
It's too crazy.
And Ryan, her spirit guide, was like, "Oh, I'll do this for you. Yeah. This is great."
Well, it's nice to see that Ryan is working for you. Meanwhile, Phoebe's at Trinity Bar somewhere.
Scott's
I don't know.
Jealous of your relationship with your spirit guide. His is on the lam.
Right. Well, I pinpointed her location. She's now at Trinity Bar in Dublin. Yeah.
Okay. I think somebody should go check that out.
Yeah. Make sure I'm right on that.
Yeah. Look for a Phoebe.
All right. I have Summer. And she says, I came around a bend in the road and the other day, and there was a great blue heron. Oh, right.
Ooh.
Standing right in the middle of the street. I stopped my car, and he very slowly and calmly walked out of the way. Felt like it was a sign, but I don't know what.
So I like this one. I mean, birds. I swear, the bird thing. There's so many symbols with birds. A lot of your spirit guides will use birds. So I wrote my book, The Book of Signs, and I have a bunch of bird signs in here, and heron is one of them. Heron's really cool. And this is what I put in my book. When you see this symbol, you can know that some soul on the other side is applauding your inner strength. And a lot of times, herons are a symbolic validation of your own fortitude. And if you think about herons, like for the way that they stand and the way that they've been mesmerizing humans for years, they have like a stoic stillness to them.
Yes.
You know, they really weather different situations and they stay calm and they stay strong in the midst of a changing atmosphere around them. And they're basically, this is a sign, and you can apply it how it works in your own life, that you have had a lot of foundational strength with a lot of variable conditions. So it's sometimes your spirit guides just send you a bit of a good job. And another thing that you'll get with a sign from your spirit guides is a feeling of, there's, like Steph was explaining too, you just know it means something. You know, there's an emotion attached to it. So it's really cool.
Interesting. Of course, when I get, and again, I don't mean to, downplay these things.
Uh-huh.
But, I really, logically, I'd like to know where she lives.
Okay.
All
right, Scott.
Because, like if this happened in Sedona, well, like, whoa. I don't think there's any
Antarctica,
right.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
And this is why Phoebe's at the bar instead of dealing with you. She's like, I've had it with this guy. I've had it with him. Now, if you want to know, you can always ask for a follow-up sign.
Okay.
And that would be my answer to this. Like, if you're not sure if the heron was just coincidental or not, you could say, like, well, can I get it in a different form, or can I get it again?
Like a pigeon?
Oh, no, or maybe, like, somebody gives you, a necklace of a heron, or, like, you see artwork somewhere.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have one from Tiffany, and this is funny. Mine, meaning her spirit guides, made it extremely difficult to buy wine one morning. Ooh, you go, Tiffany. I first missed the bus. Then the next bus I took was apparently the wrong bus, which I've never done before. Then I get home an hour later because my phone was dying. I finally head back out to the store and my ID was missing, the only card I needed. I know they were playing games with me. I ended up having really bad palpitations that lasted all day and sleep apnea. They were trying to protect me. I then decided I need to take a break. Then, the very next day, I ride the trolley home from work, and there were a few seats open. I even walked across the entire trolley to get to the seat, and this newspaper was in the seat next to me. And it is a newspaper, and it's a page open to like a huge bottle of wine. Oh. This is when I knew they were involved. I was specifically only drinking wine. I think they have similar humor to me as well. And I just think that's funny. Like, they were just saying, not today. You're not getting wine today. For whatever reason,
right.
We are protecting you from whatever mess that would turn into, and they just, but then they were like, yes, that was us. Like the next day. And I thought that was funny.
Well, that's nice that they're looking after her.
They are.
I would appreciate that. I appreciate that one. I wish someone would do that
you're
for
like
me.
a little jealous
from the spiritual
of
world.
this.
Right.
I understand. Okay.
I mean, I got people in the 3D that protect me. But
right.
I would like a little 5D protection.
Okay.
All right. I have Julia. Okay. And Julia writes, all right. All of my battery clocks run in my apartment stopped working on the same day. Wow. Now, I mean, I got questions here. Okay,
batteries.
She answers the question. She
Okay.
says they're run by batteries purchased at different times and put into clocks at different times.
Is she green? She's green, right?
Yeah, she has some green there. She's got her down at every color here.
Okay.
Green, purple, blue,
right.
turquoise.
She's covering all the orifices.
Authentic yellow. Yeah, Julia's got them all. She's got every color. What could this mean? Time isn't real. Time is a construct. Here comes the turquoise.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a timeline we create for ourselves.
Whoa.
Buy better batteries? So there's a lot of questions here.
Yeah.
So all the, basically what happened was all the clocks that were battery run stopped at the same time.
Yeah.
She answered my logical question was, well, did you put all the batteries in at the same time? She says no.
That's crazy.
And then she goes turquoise on us.
Yeah.
So.
Because she knows it's more than just a coincidence.
Right.
So I write about this in my book, too, the Book of Science, about electronics, and specifically electronics malfunctioning. And it can mean a couple things. A lot. Sometimes our own selves, when we're vibrating at a higher vibration, we can mess with electronics. So if you've ever been the type of person where the phone always breaks when you're touching it, or you have a period of a week or something where all the light bulbs blow around you, or all your batteries are stopping in the clocks or something like that, it could be your own vibration, like affecting the electricity around you. But it could also be a sign from your spirit guides, or even from people on the other side, like dead people who've crossed over, just to kind of say, hey, what's going on? We're here. We're also making our presence known, because a lot of their vibration, people who've crossed over and your spirit guides, when they try to come through, they can mess with the electronic fields. But clocks themselves, which I also write about in the book, are spiritual reminders that time is a limited resource. And if you're kind of like finding that it's a clock-centered phenomenon, you got to ask yourself, where am I wasting time? Where could I reroute my patterns? It could be your spirit guides coming through and saying, your time is a limited resource. You're allowed to make the most of it. You don't have to waste time in places that no longer serve you. That's actually a really bad use of your time. And things that aren't beneficial to you are no longer necessary for you to spend time on. So kind of like a move it kind of a symbol from your spirit guides.
Okay. I mean, makes sense to me.
Yeah. Does it?
Kinda.
I think it's crazy that they're all stopping at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like the clocks.
I mean, I get that.
Scott, when anything happens around here, you're always like, it's a ghost. So, you do believe it.
Yeah. Well, it does seem like everything goes at once.
It's true.
That's doesn't it?
Yes.
Always, one thing goes and the next thing goes and it just all goes.
Oh, God, knock on wood. But that's
knock
true.
Knock on wood.
Because, that's so true. If you ever notice in your house, and I don't even want to say it.
Shh.
I know, but all the appliances tend to go at the same time. Even when you bought them at different times.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Think about it.
All right. Am I up next?
Yes.
Oh, also, I was just told by my producer that Phoebe is at Temple Bar. Not Trinity Bar, it's Temple Bar.
Somebody should call.
Yeah. She's at Temple Bar.
All right.
Okay. All right. So I have Erica here.
Okay.
All right. Erica. Okay. So I actually know Erica. She's very supportive. She buys tons of books.
Aw.
Yeah. She does.
Thank you, Erica.
Off the website, and she gets everyone she knows has been confirmed by you.
If you know Erica, you're getting a book.
That's including the mailman. That was it. She bought so many books, and then the last one she bought, she's like, this one is for the mailman who has delivered all the books. So we actually got her mailman confirmed. So Erica's mailman is confirmed. All right.
So corny.
But true.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably true. All right. I've seen 911 almost every day for the past 2 years. Oh, is that good? I don't know.
No, that's a good
911?
Yeah.
That sounds
Keep
bad.
going. No, that's good.
I journal about it often, and I'm not sure what they're trying to tell me or who I'm supposed to help. Oh, okay. Would love to know what I'm supposed to be shifting my energy to.
911 can freak everyone out because,
that
it's
sounds freaky.
It's like 911 and then the emergency number. But in my Angel Numbers book, I write about this. It's actually a light working number.
Okay.
And that's the thing with messages on the other side. We have a lot of 3D belief systems that get stuck to spiritual concepts, and one of them is the 911. It means you are called for light working. It means you are called to heal and help. When you're seeing 911, honestly, long story short, you're looking at a career change. Okay. That's long story short, you're looking at a career change. And light working is your ultimate life purpose of taking everything that you've learned and putting it towards the collective in a way of healing and helping and assisting. That doesn't necessarily, when I usually say light working, people will automatically think I have to go be a nurse or I have to do Reiki or something like that. Not necessarily. Light working can be you take your skills and you assist other people in fields that you're interested in too. So when you have Erica's picture here, you gave me. So when I look at her, she feels very inspirational and she feels like she's really good she's pink. So she's really good at calling attention to herself, and anyone that's in the bubble with her gets that attention too. So to me, I feel like she's really good at funneling attention and funneling energy to people that she puts in her circle. So to me, that means okay, how can you help people that need attention get it? And maybe they need attention for whatever purpose they need it for. But how do you make a business out of that? How do you make a career out of that? What's the flavor that she's yellow too, so she feels organized. So what's your flavor? What's the structure you can give people so that after they leave your bubble, they can keep attention, energy, abundance, business flowing towards them? So long story short, 911 means level up your career game. You're moving, job change, something's happening there.
Okay. So let me ask you this question about this.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't been getting the numbers, but she has.
Right.
So she says she's been getting 911.
Right.
Every day, I think, for 2 years, whatever.
Yeah.
What happened? So let's say then you do the purpose. She completes the task that her spirit guides or angels are giving her.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that number then go away and you stop seeing it? Or does it eventually one day stop? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
Do you stop seeing it once you've completed that task and then you get a new number?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
It depends how because your relation, I talk about this in my Angel Numbers book, your relationship with your spirit guides is your relationship. It's they're friends. And just like you have different friends that relate to you differently, everyone's spirit guides will relate to them in your own relationship way. So a lot of times what's going to happen is you see 911 and then there's a feeling that comes with it. For example, any number really, you'll have a feeling. The feeling is something they imprint in the number. So when you see the number, you have to pay attention immediately to what you feel. It's an emotion. It's like an imprint that they put in there as part of the message. Okay. So that emotion can change. So, for example, she might be seeing 911 and feeling a sense of urgency. Like, I got to do something. What is it? What is this? What does this mean? I don't know. Like, there's confusion around it. So that, to me, means that they're saying, okay, get to it. Like that. Like, research, figure it out, explore. But she might see it eventually after she's done a lot of this and feel comfort.
Okay.
Or she might start feeling like, oh, I love that. That feels good to me, or that feels interesting. It's kind of like now that we watch Severance.
Yeah.
Like they look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And then they get a feeling from the numbers.
Right.
And that's the whole job.
Right.
Like you get the feeling from it's like that.
Some numbers are scary. Some are happy.
Some are happy. Some are, yeah.
Or
it's
evil
like you get a
or
feeling.
Something, I forget. Yeah.
Some are joyful. Some are fearful. Like
Yeah.
that. So you get the feeling in the number. And then it's funny because I've always said that. And then I saw Severance and I'm like, oh my God, that's kind of like angel number stuff, which is weird. But they were, whatever. It's a whole plot point of it. But yeah, so the feeling might change when you see the number after you've completed the task.
So right now, Erica is feeling this sense of urgency with this number, 911, but you're saying that if she does the task, it might be like a calming.
It might become more like calming or like a pat on the back or good job or peaceful, like that. That makes sense.
And then again, once again, if you haven't seen any numbers, maybe that means that you've completed all your tasks.
Right.
And your spirit guide Phoebe is at, like I said.
And just to note, you have to remember that when you see these signs and numbers or anything really, the human, the ego is not the first voice, it's the loudest voice. So you have to pay attention to the first voice you get or feeling you get, because immediately after that is going to be the ego voice, and that one's always fear. Like that one's always like, this isn't good. Backed up by, this isn't real. Like that. So like that's ego only says two things. This isn't good. And then it always says like, but it's also not real. Like that. So it's always like fear and then doubt is ego. But that's not the first voice. The first voice is the one you pay attention to. It's like more of a whisper, and then try to you get used to paying attention to that one first before ego voice comes in and starts screaming at you. Okay. I got one from Monty. I've had owls thrown at me nonstop since mid-May. First.
That's gotta hurt.
That's so corny.
Well, I mean, if someone's throwing owls at you, that's gonna hurt.
You're like Amelia Bedelia here. All right. First, a friend of hers saw an owl in a Reiki session that they did for her. Then she says, I received a new oracle deck from another friend, and I first pulled an owl card. I followed a new astrology page on Instagram, and her story, there was an owl. The most recent I signed up for this course she took, and the first image was an owl, which I think is really cool. And I think it's super cool because back to my Book of Signs book, I write about owls. And owls are spiritual acknowledgments that you see what others do not. So what's interesting is all these are popping up around her spiritual studies. And the owl is about pursuing spiritual studies. It's, they've got those big eyes so they can navigate the darkness, and for many eons, people have admired them for seeing worlds the rest of us do not. And it just means about you have an ability to see the beyond. And yeah, it's kind of like seeing through the physical realm and trusting your intuition with spiritual studies. So I think it's just so aligned to that. They're saying like, yes, keep going, yes, keep going, yes, keep going, because this is very aligned to your abilities. So I think that that's just a really cool pat on the back from Spirit. And it probably felt cool. She probably felt inspired by it and excited, and that would be the thing that you'd latch on to, that emotion. Mm-hmm. That make sense?
Yeah, definitely does.
Well, this thread was amazing.
Amazing.
As always, you guys delivered, and I encourage everyone to read the stories from this thread. There's so many we didn't get to, and they're just really, if you think your spirit guides are harassing you, they probably are. Except if you're Scotty.
Except if you're Scotty, then you have mine, Phoebe, who's out chasing rainbows. If anyone ever gets that reference, I'd be amazed.
Okay. This podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.